Hey, how are you? Hello, everybody. Let's get this in frame a little bit better. It's not?
No.
Now it's 3. Oh, I have the official Caroline flagging me here. All right, so no. Oh well, I'm on the air, and thank you so much for visiting me here in the fabulous West Village of New York, where it looks like it's going to rain. I feel bad for those working guys out there because they're on scaffolding and working on that oligarch's mansion. So I hope they don't fall off in the high winds there. Anyway, so just to get right down to it. What you do from seeing what you do, banging on your door up in deep blue sky. To the warm part of that, the feeling I am feeling through. 'Cause everywhere you go is everywhere I go, banging on your door up in deep blue sky. Let's go swimming. All set, nigga, let's go swimming. All set, nigga, let's go swimming. All set, nigga, let's go swimming. I'm banging on your door up in deep blue sky. Let's go swimming. All set, let's go swimming. All set, let's go swimming. All set, let's go swimming. Let's go swimming, and that's my arrangement of a great tune by the late great Arthur Russell. And I've been on a Beefheart kick recently with a 3-part tribute and plus tonight I'm turning in my exam paper. I'm turning in an appreciation of a fifth favorite Beefheart album on Facebook, and thanks everybody who's following that, because I think they're all great, and it's hard to decide what are my favorites. They shift all the time. But after Don Van Vliet, after that thing ended, and Don was determined really to stop making music, I had really staked a lot of time and energy in that project. And so I was bereft, I was just kind of floundered. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do musically. I had this day job at CBS Records writing advertising, so that continued. But it certainly wasn't satisfying to me creatively, And I did produce a couple of people. There were some very nice A&R people who gave me shots up there. One being Christine Reed, who was the VP at Columbia Masterworks, and she's still a friend. And Christine, allowed me to bring in an artist, Peter Gordon, a downtown saxophonist composer who actually shares the same birthday as me, June 20th, along with Brian Wilson and Eric Dolphy, and we're June 20th Geminis. And through working with Peter on that album, I met this amazing character up at Woodstock at Bearsville Studios, and that was Arthur Russell. And he was the most quirky, contrarian son of a guns I'd ever encountered since Don Van Vliet, and it seems to be my lot in life that I'm attracted to a lot of difficult artists. I don't think myself I'm that difficult as an artist, but maybe I should get more that way. I don't know. But anyway, it showed in his music, which was very challenging. So after palling around with Arthur, I really thought, I want to help this guy. And I recommended him to Jeff Travis at Rough Trade Records, and also to Barry Feldman and the people down at Upside Records. I was kind of doing A&R for surreptitiously on the QT. Jim Merlis worked on there, Beth Bellis, John Rosenfelder, and it was under my good friend Robert Melvin Rubin, who was the chief executive officer of Upside. So we thought we'll start a dance music division, because really rap music especially was exploding, in house music, and Arthur had underground club hits that had very subversive texts to them, and were popular, God knows, in the gay club scene in Manhattan that centered around the Paradise Garage. And I don't know if you recall, but there was one called Is It All Over My Face? That was a good one. And Go Bang was probably the best known of them. Anyway, so on my honeymoon, I took Caroline to the UK, where my mom still resides, my mother-in-law. And I paid a visit to Jeff, who was a friend, Jeff Travis, who had signed the Smiths, and so much great music on his Rough Trade Records. And he was intrigued by Arthur, but it still took about a year. And finally he took a flyer on a track called Let's Go Swimming. And the story behind that is pretty incredible. Like, Arthur loved to work on tapes, kind of like a dub artist. My friend Adrian Sherwood works in this way as well, whereby you take a full 24-track master and stack the tracks with what could essentially become 3 different albums, at least, depending on what faders were up when you mixed it. So Rough Trade put that out, and Upside put that out as a 12-inch. It's a collector's item. We had a little division called Logarithm Records, and check it out. But I love that tune so much that when I got Gods and Monsters going, for maybe the second iteration or third iteration, at that point it was me, Jonathan Cain, a great drummer. No, please, and Caroline is busy casting something noisily with her phone. Yes, and okay, thank you. Live from the House of Smiles. So, where was I? Arthur. He he delivered the goods. And then we had a mix down that was an all-nighter, which was also incredible. We brought in a guy who was also renowned dance mixer, and he and Arthur got into kind of a fight that went on all night, and there was a lot of discussion on what should go, and there were cut tapes, pieces of tape taped all over the studio, and we emerged at the crack of dawn with this thing. I think it's called the Coastal Mix. You have to hear that. There's a very good video for it too. But anyway, I got with Jonathan Cain, Spectre, Gods and Monsters, and Gene Chain, who used to drive down from Vermont. I mean, how about that for being a trooper as a player in a band? He would come in, he'd drive all the way down from Vermont to play with me. And we were kind of the house band at the Mercury Lounge. So there's a recording of Let's Go Swimming, which is, I think, the first time we ever played it. And it was just, it's incredible. You can hear it on an album of mine entitled Bad Boys of the Arctic. And it will be on my forthcoming album, The Essential Gary Lucas. And more about that later. But all right, let's get back to some music. That began as an instrumental piece, like all of my music. A solo guitar instrumental I called Winged Victory. I played it up at WNYC, which is New York's public radio station, which is in a federal building. I think it's Cadman Plaza. Anyway, it's downtown, and there's a statue of like the Winged Victory. I guess it's a knockoff of a Grecian statue, you know, of Athena or somebody with sprouted wings. And I went up there, I think, before the broadcast to smoke a joint. I mean, this was in my stoner days. And kids, don't try this at home, but I'm about a dozen years out from having a veritable puff of marijuana. I don't condemn it. I think it should be legalized. But I had enough to last me, many, many, many lifetimes. And but this is me. So anyway, I just titled this thing off the cuff, Winged Victory. And years later, I started working with a great Indian vocalist based in England, Najma Akhtar, who had been with Page and Plant and released amazing solo albums on her own. And for music, I went back because I had a backlog of great instrumental pieces that I thought were crying out for melodies and lyrics, a la how I wrote with Jeff Buckley. And I gave this to Najma, and she came up with a beautiful song called Bahal, which is Urdu for I don't know. I don't know what it is, but you should check out this record on OK Music, which is a digital-only label. It originally came out on Harmonia Mundi, and for some strange reason disappeared after going to #1 on the world music charts. But the nice people at OK Music have brought it back to life, so check this one out. And Bahal, also we stacked the tracks with all sorts of psychedelic electric guitar and tabla. I think Nitin Mitta was playing tabla on this track, or Tibyarka Chatterjee. I have to check the credits, but some amazing Indian musicians on this record, as well as great Alicia Svigals, who is one of the founders of the Klezmatics, plays violin on the track Nayadin. Anyway, check out this album. It's called Rishteh. And I'll do Rishteh from it because I wrote this for Jeff and sent it to him, and he said it was beautiful, and then he passed. Najma picked up the torch, and she did such a beautiful job with Rishteh. little bit of Nino Rota's theme from La Strada, one of my favorite of all Fellini films. Zampano is here, featuring Anthony Quinn doing an incredible impersonation of an Italian strongman, and the great Gietta Messina, Fellini's wife, as Gelsomina, who's kind of the holy fool. It's really a beautiful film that you need to see if you haven't seen it. And Fellini is just about my favorite director. And I haven't put that on an album yet, but I have arrangements of a whole bunch of these songs. I think there's some dry runs on my SoundCloud page if you want to hear. Well, let's move along while we still have some time to electric guitar. And today, I have to say, is the birthday of one of my favorite guitarists. I formally would say my favorite all-time guitarist, that is Jeff Beck. But it's hard now to say anybody is my favorite anything. No, he's certainly one of the best. I don't know, it was Richard Meltzer, who was a rock critic friend, who said to me, "Nothing is ever better than pretty good," which I thought was a pretty good rule of thumb with aesthetics, but I'm prone to making sweeping generalizations anyways. Okay, that's originally the template for what became Mojo Pin, the first song on Jeff Buckley's monumental Grace album. I'm so thrilled and lucky to have met and worked with this guy. Thanks to my friend, the late Hal Wilner, who was an early casualty of COVID-19. And, well, yeah, what can I say? It was one of those moments of inspiration. And, well, let them continue. And I think I'll close with some steel guitar. Let me pull this thing over here. I know that my friend Jason Candler posted a film clip, a short prize-winning NYU student film done by his friend Peter. The Kite Flies Out of Sight. I'm out of sight. Now I'm back in sight. The Kite Flies Out of Sight, or B Positive Ketchup. And I got to score this film. And that was a lot of fun, and that was one of my earliest film scores. I've composed about a dozen and performed them live. I love to do this, beginning with The Golem, which I did with my old childhood friend Walter Horn, and then went solo my merry way and continued to do them. And I'm preparing some new ones now, but I don't want to give them away. People are prone to like jump on ideas of mine all the time, and that was titled God is a Shout in the Street, which is a line from my favorite novel, Ulysses, by the great James Joyce. And I think that about does it. Let me check here. Yeah, we got another minute or so. Let's see what else I can do. But that's one of the themes from that film. And I had a great Korean vocalist on that track, Kumiko Komoto, who also had a dance troupe around town. I think now she's performing with the Worcester Group the last time I saw her, but yeah. There, on that note, Lulu barks right on cue. Yeah, Yeah, it's one of those bittersweet consonant dissonances. Anyway, Gary Lucas here saying thank you for tuning in. As always, I love to play for you and invite you into our humble abode. Caroline thanks you. My dog thanks you. I'm sounding like George M. Cohan now. All right, so I'll see you on Saturday. Next up, just check Facebook feed because I'll have my 5th favorite Beefheart album in there. Oh, sooner than later. All right, love you guys. Take care.